Hello student, today I want to discuss about one of the very simple topic. Even the topic is very simple. I'm receiving multiple doubts almost from every student regarding this topic. And this topic is super important because this is the base, this is the pillar for the calculation of other question. So I'm taking this doubt session of interest rate. So if we do not understand that how we can convert the effective to compounding rate or compounding rates to effective rate or effective to continuous or continuous to effective rate, then it would be difficult to solve questions in the examination. Okay, so let's understand the discussion, the topic of converting the quoted rate or the continuous rate or the compounded rate to effective rate or the effective rate to continuous or compounded rate. So actually there are two different kinds of rates. One is quoted rate and another is the effective rate. Quoted rate, effective rate, or you can say quoted rate or actual rate. You can also say quoted rate or pure rate. So if I say you invested rupees 100, you invested rupees 100 at t equal to 0 and you invested it for 1 year. Time horizon is 1 year. And at the end of 1 year, at t equal to 1, you receive 105. Then 5% is your actual interest rate that you earned in 1 year, because it is 105 minus 100 upon 100 into 100, that is your earned return. So 5% is your actual interest rate. You can say that this is the effective interest rate. This is the actual interest rate or effective interest rate or the pure interest rate that you will earn or you have earned in 1 year. So this is the pure return that you generated in 1 year or effective return that you generated in 1 year or actual return that you generated in 1 year. So effective interest rate. So effective interest rate is the actual earned return, or it is the pure interest rate that you will earn. Now what I'm stating, as in the word that I'm stating, is for your understanding. I'm stating pure interest rate. I'm stating actual interest rate. You won't find it in book. In book, we call this interest rate or return as effective rate, effective return or effective interest rate. But just for understanding, you can say that is the pure interest rate. That is the actual interest rate. That is the actual earned interest rate. Okay. But the same 5% can be stated in different way. So we have what? Quoted rate. We have quoted rate. What are some of the examples that we have for the quoted rate? So quoted rate could be semi-annual compounding. Semi-annual compounding. The quoted rate could be quarterly compounding. The quoted rate could be monthly compounding. The quoted rate could be daily compounding. And we also have another quoted rate which is a very super important in FRM level 1 is continuous compounding. But they are not effective, they are not actual or pure interest rate or pure return. But before moving into the concept of quoted rate or compounding, let's first discuss one of the most important property of effective interest rate. Okay, so first of all, we discuss about effective interest rate, and the property that we have to discuss is the conversion of effective interest rate of one tenure to another tenure. So we want to understand that how we can convert effective interest rate, pure interest rate, actual interest rate from one tenure to another. So we have effective interest rate of 1 year. The effective interest rate of 1 year is given as 5%. Now you have to convert the effective interest rate of 1 year to effective interest rate of 6 months and effective interest rate of 2 years. In simple language, in plain vanilla language, what I mean that what is the pure interest rate that you will earn in 6 months, that you will earn in 2 years, the actual interest rate. So if you have to convert the effective interest rate of one tenure to another tenure, one period to another period, you will always play with power. Multiplication or division are not allowed. They are restricted. If you have to convert the effective interest rate of one tenure to another tenure, if you want to move from effective interest rate of one tenure to effective interest rate of another tenure, then multiplication and division is not allowed. So what it means that if effective interest rate of 1 year is 5%, then effective interest rate of 6 months is not 5 by 2, or effective interest rate of 2 year is not 5 into 2. These steps are not allowed in the conversion from one effective interest rate to another effective interest rate. So if the effective interest rate of 1 year is 5%, and if you want to move to another tenure, so 6 month effective interest rate, to convert it into 6 month effective interest rate, you have to play with what? You have to play with power. This is allowed. So you have a 1 year effective interest rate 5%. So 6 month effective interest rate is not 5 by 2. It is 1.05. Basically what you did, 1 plus 5% raised to the power 6 month upon 12 month, or 1 by 2 minus 1. If you solve it on Calci, then it is 1.05 raised to the power 0.5. That will give you the value of 1.024 minus 1 into 100. So 6 month effective interest rate is 2.469%. This is the effective interest rate of 6 months. Similarly, if you want to convert 1 year effective interest rate which is 5%, you want to convert it into 2-year effective interest rate, then you do 1.05 raised to the power 2 minus 1. Let's do the calculation. 1.05 raised to the power 2 minus 1. That will give you the answer of 10.25%. That is the effective interest rate, the pure interest rate, that actual interest rate that you will earn in 2 years. So what you learned, the super important point, the most important point, that if you want to convert the effective interest rate or effective return to move from effective to effective, to move from effective to effective, effective to effective, okay, whatever tenure, but you're moving from effective to effective of different tenure, but effective to effective, you play with what? Power. You play with power. Multiplication and divisions are not allowed. They are not allowed. Okay, this is the only concept that we learned so far. Super critical. That if you want to convert from effective of one tenure to effective of another tenure, then you play with power. Super important. Okay. Now let's discuss about the quoted rate. What rate? Quoted rate. Now we discussed there are different quoted rate: semi-annual compounding, quarterly compounding, monthly compounding, daily compounding, continuously compounding. Okay, so now if it is given that 1 year or annual, the word could be 1 year or the word could be annual or 1 year, semi-annual compounding rate is 5%. Does it mean that you will earn 5% in 1 year? Does it mean that you will earn 5% in 1 year? The answer is no. Now if it is given that 1 year or annual quarterly compounding rate is 5%. Does it mean that you will earn 5% in 1 year? No, that's not effective rate. That is just a quoted rate. Similarly, if it is given that 1 year monthly compounding rate is 5%. Does it mean that you will earn 5% in 1 year? The answer is still no. Similarly for the daily compounded or continuously compounded, this is not the effective rate. These are not the actual rate. These are just the quoted rate. What? Quoted rate. Okay, whenever you have the word semi-annual compounding, let's start with semi-annual compounding, and whenever you have this word semi-annual compounding, the first thing that you should understand, the first thing that should hit your mind is that we have effective rate of 6 months, semi-annual compounding. So the effective rate of 6 months is hidden in this quoted rate, and that is 5/2. 2.5% is the effective interest rate of 6 months, and that is hidden in this quote. The first thing that you should understand. Similarly, if the word is quarterly compounding, the first thing that you should understand that the hidden effective rate is of 3 months or 1 quarter. So 5/4, that is 1.25%, is the effective interest rate, of 1 quarter. Similarly, if you have this word a monthly compounding, then this quoted rate has a hidden implicit rate in it, that is the effective interest rate of 1 month, that is 5/12. That is 5/12. That will give you the value of 0.4167%. This is the effective interest rate of 1 month. Similarly, if you have daily compounding, then the quoted rate have a hidden effective interest rate of 1 day, and it is given by 5 upon 365. Okay, this is super critical, super important. Whenever you have compounded word, if it is semi-annual compounded word, then you should understand that there is hidden effective interest rate of 6 months. If it is quarterly compounded, then there is hidden effective rate of 3 months. If it is the monthly compounded, then you have hidden effective interest rate of 1 month. This is super important. First, to analyze the hidden effective rate in the quoted rate. Now you have the effective interest rate, right? These interest rate are effective interest rate. Effective interest rate. Now if I say you have to convert these effective interest rate from one tenure to another tenure, what we have discussed? We play with power. Okay, so if I ask you to convert the 6-month effective interest rate, 6-month effective interest rate of 2.5% to 1 year effective interest rate, what you will do? You will play with power. 1.025 raised to the power 2 minus 1. This will be the effective interest rate of 1 year, because you are moving from effective interest rate of 6 months to effective interest rate of 1 year. Similarly, if you want to convert the effective interest rate of 1 quarter to effective interest rate of 1 year, then you will play with power. Then it is 1.0125 raised to the power 4 minus 1, right? That will give you the effective interest rate of 1 year, because you are moving from effective interest rate to effective interest rate. Effective interest rate of quarter to effective interest rate of 1 year. Similarly, if you want to move from the effective interest rate of 1 month, to effective interest rate of 1 year, you will play with power. 1.004167 raised to the power 12 minus 1. Okay, so these equations, these formula would give you the effective interest rate of 1 year. Please understand, higher the compounding, higher would be the effective rate. If it is semi-annual compounding and if it is quarterly compounding, the effective interest rate that you will calculate for quarterly compounding would be higher than the effective interest rate of semi-annual compounding. Let's calculate. So 1.025 raised to the power 2, 1.025 raised to the power 2 minus 1 will give you the effective interest rate of 5.0625%. Okay, now this is for the semi-annual compounding. For the quarterly one, we have the equation that is 1.0125 raised to the power 4 minus 1. 1.0125 raised to the power 4 minus 1 will give you the effective interest rate of 1 year, that is 5.0945%. For the monthly compounding, the interest rate is 1.004167 raised to the power 12 minus 1. This is the effective interest rate of 1 year. So 1.004167 raised to the power 12 minus 1. This will give you the interest rate of 5.1166%. Higher the compounding, higher would be the effective interest rate. Understand, the quoted interest rate is 5%. The quoted interest rate is 5%, but the compounding is higher in daily, or the highest in daily. If you compare, if this 4, I'm not talking about continuously compounding right now, because the continuously compounding, the calculation is very different. We'll discuss about the continuously compounding rate. Okay. So we understood that if we want to move from effective to effective, if we want to move from effective to effective, we play with power. If you have to find out the implicit effective rate, the implicit effective rate in the quoted rate, you first of all see what is the compounding given. If it is semi-annual compounding, you divide by 2, you get the effective interest rate of 6 months. If the quarterly compounding, you divide by 4, you get the effective interest rate of 1 quarter. If it is monthly compounding, you divide by 12, you get the effective interest rate of 1 month. If it is daily compounding, you divide by 360, you get the effective interest rate of 1 day. Okay. And then you convert effective to effective, from 6 month to 1 year effective, from quarter to 1 year effective, from monthly to 1 year effective. Okay. Now, what about continuously compounding rate? Continuously compounding rate. Continuously compounding rate. See, this continuously compounding rate is super important, super duper important for FRM level 1 examination. All the questions that you will get in the examination and even the answers, the options given in the examination would be in continuously compounded one. So you should understand how to convert from continuous compounded to effective, effective to continuously compounded. First of all, you should understand that this is not the effective rate. This is another way of stating one interest rate. This is another quoted rate. This is not the pure rate. This is not the actual rate. This is the quoted rate. You have to convert it into effective. So if you have the continuously compounded rate 5%, annual continuously compounded rate of 5%. So 1 year continuously compounded rate is 5%. Okay. The only way to achieve the effective rate, the only way to achieve the effective rate is e to the power 0.05 minus 1. This is the effective rate of 1 year. Let's do the calculation. 0.05 raised to the power e minus 1. So 5.12% is the effective interest rate. Actually, it is near about 5.13%. It is 5.127%, but I have written it as 5.12%. If you have the 6 month continuously compounded rate, say 4%. And if you want to know the effective interest rate, the only way to get the effective interest rate of 6 months is e to the power 0.04 minus 1. There is no other way possible. 0.04 second e to the power x minus 1. Then the effective interest rate of 6 months is 4.081%. Okay. There is no implicit effective interest rate hidden in the continuously compounded one as it is hidden for other quoted rate. The only way to get the effective interest rate is to do the exponential of the interest rate and then you subtract it by 1. Okay. So you learned that if you want to convert the continuous rate to effective, you do exponential x minus 1. Okay. Now if you have to convert the effective interest rate to continuous, so I'm stating you have the effective interest rate of 4.081 and that is the 6 month effective interest rate. Then you do ln, and exactly you do ln of 1 plus x. Let's do ln of 1 plus this interest rate. So you do plus 1 then you do ln. You will exactly get 4%. Okay. So if you want to move from effective interest rate of one tenure to continuous rate of one tenure, for example, you have effective interest rate of 1 year and you want to find out the continuous rate of 1 year, you do ln. If you have effective interest rate of 6 months and you want to get the continuous rate of 6 months, you do ln of 1 plus x. But if you have continuous of 6 months and you want to achieve the effective of 6 months, you do e to the power x, which is the continuous interest rate. X is the continuous interest rate minus 1, you get the effective interest rate. Okay. The only thing that I haven't explained, what about you're moving from continuous of one tenure to continuous of another tenure. Continuous of one tenure to continuous of another tenure. Now this is a flip of effective to effective. In this case, multiplication and divisions are allowed. So if you have the 1 year effective rate, 1 year continuous rate, that is 5%, and you want to find out the 6 month continuous rate, you just divide by 2. That is the continuous rate. 2.5% is the continuous rate of 6 months. If you have 1 year continuous rate, say 4%, and you want to find out the continuous rate of 1 month or say 1 quarter, so what you do? You divide it by 4. So 1% is the continuous rate of 1 quarter. So in continuous to continuous, the conversion of continuous of one tenure to continuous of another tenure, what is allowed? The multiplication and division is allowed. Okay. So if you have the continuous rate, of 1 year, which is 4%, you want to find out the continuous rate of 2 year, then it is 8%. If you want to find out the continuous rate of 6 months, then it would be 2%. If you want to find out the continuous rate of 1 month, then it would be 4 upon 12, that is 1 by 3%. Simple multiplication and division. Okay, let's have a recap. If you're moving from effective to effective of one tenure to effective of another tenure, effective to effective, you only play with power. The multiplication and division is not allowed. Okay. When you play with quoted rate and not the continuously compounded rate, only the exception is continuously compounded rate. When you play with the quoted rate, the first thing you should understand, there is an implicit hidden effective rate, and your responsibility is to find that effective rate, and then you have to convert the effective rate of one tenure to another tenure. So if it is semi-annual compounding, you should understand that there is 6 month effective interest rate hidden. If it is quarterly compounded, then there is a effective interest rate of 1 quarter is hidden, that is 5 by 4 if the 5% is the quoted rate. Similarly, if it is monthly compounded, then 1 month effective rate is hidden and you have to divide by 12. And if it is daily, then daily effective rate is hidden and you have to divide by 365. Okay, once you got the effective interest rate, you can play with power to move from effective of one tenure to effective of another tenure. Then we discuss about continuously compounding. In continuously compounding, the very important concept that we learned is this one, that if you want to convert the continuous rate to effective, then you do e to the power x minus 1. And if you do ln of 1 plus x, as in ln of 1 plus effective rate, you convert the effective of the x tenure to the continuous of x tenure. The tenure would not change. You are only changing the continuous to effective, effective to continuous. If you want to convert the continuous of 6 months to effective of 6 months, you play with e to the power x minus 1. And if you want to change the effective of 6 months to continuous of 6 months, you do ln of 1 plus x, where x is the interest rate. And the next thing we learned, that if you move from continuous to continuous of one tenure to continuous of another tenure, you do multiplication and division. Okay, so let's do one question. You have semi-annual you have semi-annual compounding rate, that is 6%. Okay, you have to find out how you can change the quoted rate to quarterly compounding. 1 year quarterly compounding. Understand the question. You have semi-annual compounding. 6%. Now this is annual actually. This is annual, but quoted as semi-annual compounding. You have to find out if you want to change the quotation from semi-annual compounding to quarterly compounded, then what is this X? The first thing, if you have semi-annual compounding 6%, what is the implicit effective interest rate? The implicit effective interest rate is 6 by 2, that is 3%. But this is the effective interest rate of what? This is the effective interest rate of 6 months. So you have the effective interest rate of 6 months. So what is the effective interest rate of 1 year? You have to play with power. So 1.03 raised to the power 2 minus 1, because you're moving from 6 month effective interest rate to 1 year effective interest rate. So 1.03 raised to the power 2 minus 1. Now this is the effective interest rate. 6.09% is the effective interest rate of 1 year. But are we interested in finding the effective interest rate of 1 year? No. We are interested in finding the quarterly compounded rate. Now in quarterly compounded rate, what is the effective interest rate that is implicit? It is the quarterly effective rate. What rate? Quarterly effective rate. Quarterly effective rate. So what is the quarterly effective rate? 1 year effective rate is 6.09%. 6 month effective rate is 3%. Either you can convert the 6 month effective interest rate to quarterly, or you can convert the 1 year effective interest rate to quarterly effective rate. Let's first convert the 1 year effective interest rate to quarter. So it is 1.0609. Now you have to play with power because it is quarter. 1 by 4 minus 1. So the rate would be 1.0609 raised to the power 0.25 minus 1 into 100. So it would be 1.488. So the effective, it is somewhere around 1.4889%. This is the effective quarterly interest rate. This is the 3-month effective interest rate. The other way to convert it is that you have 6-month effective rate. You can convert it into 3-month effective rate. So you play with power. So actually it would be again 1 by 2 minus 1. So 1.03 raised to the power 0.5 minus 1. Again you will get the exact same effective interest rate, that is 1.4889%. Now this is the effective interest rate of quarter. But actually the quarterly compounded quoted rates are given in annual term. So you have to multiply it by what? 4. So you multiply it by 4. So actually this is somewhere around 5.955663%. Okay. So this is the quarterly compounded quoted rate. Okay. So I tried to touch upon this topic because I'm receiving multiple doubts on it. Multiple doubts on it. Almost every student have doubt in it. So there are few things that you have to understand and keep in mind. First, effective to effective. Effective of one tenure to effective of another tenure. You cannot do multiplication and division. Super important. You only play with power. If the word is semi-annual compounding, quarterly compounding, monthly compounding, daily compounding, you should understand there is a hidden implicit effective interest rate. Okay. And you have to first find out that hidden implicit effective interest rate. If it is continuously compounding, then to move from continuous to effective, you do e to the power x minus 1, and from effective to continuous, you do ln of 1 plus x. But understand, this is the conversion of continuous of one tenure to effective of the same tenure, or effective of one tenure to continuous of same tenure. Now if you move from continuous to continuous, you can play with multiplication and division. If you keep these concepts in mind, the possibility of error is very bleak. Okay, but it needs a lot of practice. This won't come in a day. Okay, so it needs a lot of practice. So that it is. So thank you.